Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's Debsy, and the place to be, it's Debsy. Bloop, bloop, that's me. Boop, Debsy. Hey guys, and happy Thursday. I hope everybody's having a wonderful week and had a great day. You might be like, Debbie, why is your face all red? Well, that's because I took my shower and I used hot water, so I'm all red. So there we go. It's because I am blushing with how much I hated the final episode of the Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion. This was part 3. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion, part 3. Okay. This was on Tuesday. Yes, I know it's now Thursday. I had to calm down. And as I say that, I'm also going to put a warning. I'm going to have a lot of, there's going to be language. So this is not a video that maybe you could gather the kids around and the family and pop some popcorn and watch it. I mean, unless you're an Italian family like mine and you like cussing, there is going to be cussing in this. So if you're offended by that and you don't watch, I'm fine with that. If you're offended, then please don't watch. But say about this. Okay, let's get right into it. Now we know at the end that Garcelle walks out. And she's over it. At the very beginning of this episode, you can see one example of why she would be over it. They're talking about they're talking about how Garcelle called Beau's Dorit's spokesperson. And so they showed a little example of that, flashback to the 4th of July party. And then Andy asks Garcelle about it, but then interrupts her by saying, well, you should be happy she made a friend finally, or something like that. Interrupted her, and she gave kind of that look. And 2 things about that. Number 1, that's the look that I give whenever I'm interrupted. That is one of my biggest pet peeves, if not my biggest pet peeve, is being interrupted. And she gave that look, but it also kind of reminded me of when years ago, when we found out that the Fox Force 5 threw Garcelle's book in the garbage. And then they all laughed at it, and, and Andy kind of just glossed over it like it was no big deal. That's what that reminded me of. Okay. Then there was a whole thing about, on the after show, not Dorit, Sutton had said, what did I do to make you angry at me? And she was talking about Beau's. So Beau's then says on the reunion that she didn't appreciate Sutton calling her an angry black woman. She didn't, though. She said, what did I do to make you angry at me? I felt like she was reaching a little bit. Do I think that Sutton is not racist? No, I'm not saying that at all. But in this instance right here, I don't think it wasn't a microaggression or anything like that. But then the thing that got me was Beau's then clocked Garcelle for not calling Sutton out on it. How about when, listen, Beau's, how about when your bestie on the show, Dorit, said Garcelle was yelling at her a few seasons ago and kind of made her out to be like the angry black woman. So it goes both ways. Garcelle says, I don't remember how it came about, but Garcelle says, yeah, I'm really I'm really pissed. I am. I'm very pissed now. I'm very pissed. And Jennifer Tilly had said, is it because everyone's piling up on Sutton? And she says, no. And great answer, Garcelle, because Garcelle said, I'm not worried about Sutton right now. I'm worried about me. Right, that's correct. Listen, Sutton, this revealed that Sutton was never your friend. We're going to get to more on that later. But Sutton doesn't give a shit about you. None of these ladies give a shit about you. You got to think about yourself. She has done so much in defending and sticking up for Sutton, and Sutton did not reciprocate. So perfect answer. So then Andy follows up with, what are you pissed off about? Or what pissed you off so much, Garcelle? And she says, I don't get any grace in this group. I take accountability, but it's not accepted. Not one person here looked at me and smiled. And they were like, are you talking about during the day? Now listen, it's true that nobody really looked at her, because if you remember, when they came in at the beginning, she said to Kyle, oh, Kyle, you look beautiful. Your dress is gorgeous. Your hair looks beautiful. You look beautiful. She didn't even look at her. She didn't say anything to her. She instead was like, oh, hi, Bose. You look great. And if you wanted to know, I am hydrating myself with some Gatorade Zero in Watermelon Splash. Zero sugar. It's from Dolly. To keep my electrolytes up. Okay. Yeah, like and here's the thing, she'll say something that the ladies don't like. Like when Andy asked her about what she said about the home invasion at Dorit's, and she said what she thought, and she said what a lot of us believe, that it was maybe staged by someone, not Dorit, but by someone, and everybody piled on her, and she says, okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry. And everybody continued to pile on her. Now, here's the thing. If anybody else would have done these things, if anybody else would have said that and would have apologized, then it would have been accepted and they would have moved on. Many people in the past have done things, they've apologized, and then the Fox Force 5 has accepted it and moved on, but not with Garcelle. And a lot of people online are like, about the not smiling at me. Listen, I'm going to tell you, a lot of people were saying that, well, what do you expect? I mean, it's a reunion. That to me would seem like a hostile environment. That to me would either show that they're ignoring me, which is not a great feeling, or that they just really don't like you. And can you imagine having to sit there for 9 or 10 hours amongst these people that are fake and don't like you? Because it's apparent by the end that they don't like her. So, yeah, I completely get her on all of those points. Now, listen, this reunion, by this point, I'm like, this reunion could have been two parts. This episode here could have been an email, because there were some parts in there that you didn't really have to talk about. Like, they wasted time with that horny housewives part, and even the talking to Erica about Tom. Tom is past history. Like, he's been found guilty. Okay, it's in the past. What else did she have this year? She redecorated her leased pool house. Okay, that she picked out wallpaper. All right, but some of the things from that, there was a question, why aren't you divorced yet? I've always wondered that. Like, why are you not divorced yet? There was really no answer. other than how do you go about divorcing someone with dementia? Well, here's what you do. You, Erica, don't have to actually be the lawyer. There are lawyers that know how to do that. Get a lawyer that can do that, that's not crooked, because you can get some crooked lawyers, but get a lawyer, a divorce attorney, a divorce lawyer, and divorce him. And she was like, somebody had sent in a question, maybe Andy asked it. Do you see him? Do you talk to him? Would you consider going and seeing him? And she was like, not to sound, real morose and real dark, but I think the next time I see him is going to be at his grave. And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay. Then a question came in from a viewer, and it was like, listen, you said in the past you can't talk about things because cases, legal cases were going on, and you can't talk about it. Legal cases are done. So do you believe that Tom is guilty? And once again, everybody's under the assumption that she can talk about it because Tom has been found guilty. Well, but here's the thing. She can't talk about it because she's now charged. She is charged. And if she were to say, yes, I do believe he's guilty, then how is that going to affect? Well, if you believe he's guilty, then at the time you must have known he was guilty and you must have known something about this. That's why she can't say that. I completely understand. I'm going to tell you this much. It doesn't matter how much of a redemption arc they give Erica Jane. I'm not going to like her. And the reason as to why I'm not going to like her is how she acted towards the victims during all of this. She just talked horribly on the show about them, but then they had that follow-up to the Housewife and the Hustler, like the second part, and she met with some of the victims, and to me, she didn't seem sympathetic. She didn't seem like she gave a shit about their suffering. So I don't care what kind of redemption arc they give her. I'm never going to be a fan of hers again. Was I a fan of hers in the beginning? I was. Not anymore. I can't. Okay. Another waste of time was talking to Sutton about RHOBH. We needed, and all of that to say, so we needed 15 extra minutes for all of this. The one thing I did notice during this whole segment was that, what was it? Erica was talking about the similarities because she's a Southern woman, and she was talking about the similarities of like her between Sutton's mother and her grandmother. So that started like a conversation between the two. And Sutton had said that she wants to be a better friend. She wasn't turned here to Garcelle. She was looking out at the other couch. She was looking at Erica. So she wants to be a better friend, obviously for Erica and obviously for Kyle. And there was like that little grimace from Garcelle, like, how about being a little bit of a better friend to me? Like, I've had your back for 5 years. How about, you reciprocate a little bit? And I also did notice during this whole like reunion that even though she was seated next to Garcelle on the couch, her back was more turned to Garcelle and her front she was facing more towards Kyle. I noticed that. But listen, during this whole thing with RHOBH, Garcelle was very complimentary to her and was very she was very complimentary towards her. She said, oh, she's hilarious and she's a great woman. And she was being very classy about the whole thing. You can't tell me otherwise. That woman, RHOBH, no, 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 like, no. Mm-mm. I don't want to say she's an old white Southern woman. And you know how Sutton has the house, and then there's like the big house, and then there's like those little houses behind. We all know what those probably were, okay? And ironic that that woman is living in one of those houses. I'm gonna tell you. Ugh. Okay. Anyways, let's move on from that. Next, we go to Kyle and Mauricio. But first of all, let's quench. Okay, so Kyle and Mauricio. Girl, nobody has filed yet. Andy was like, has anybody filed yet? Nobody has filed yet. I'm going to tell you, someone needs to step up and file. He's moved on. He has enough towels. He bought all of his furniture. He has been seen around town with all kinds of women. He was kissing up on some young chippy up in Mykonos, Greece at the airport. So he's moved on. How about you file so you can start your new life, okay? He's not coming back. It's done. It's done and over with. As much as Kathy, and that surprised me when Kathy was asked, would you like to see them get back together? And Kathy was crying. She was like, I would. Even despite the fact that it seems to me like she's not a big fan of Mauricio, or as she calls him, Maurice. Like, I don't think Kathy has any love lost for Mauricio. Probably because it's like, it started off as like Mauricio kind of did Rick Hilton dirty as in business is what I'm saying. But there's no love lost. So when she said that, I was like, what, why? And the reason being is Kathy hates to see change. She was like, the kids are grown. Portia is going to be going to college in a year and a half, I think Kyle said. All her other daughters are grown. They're adults. So, no. Kyle, no. As much as I'm not a fan of Kyle, let's let her move on. Instead of just like staying in limbo. I mean, Mo has moved on. Somebody needs to stop dragging their feet and just get divorced. They said that the split wasn't caused by the media or by the TV show. If anything, the TV show helped him with his business, helped him with his philandering, because there's that man, he's a good-looking man. I mean, he's a good-looking man who now has this celebrity. You don't think he's gonna use that to his advantage? And Kyle was like, so that it wasn't the show that caused the split. Here's what it was. What caused the split was your husband. Because she was like, you get a good looking man who is a good husband and he has some money, and suddenly women are just on the prowl. Okay, yeah, women are, but so is your husband. Because for multiple seasons, and for many years, both on the show, they've talked about it, and off the show, they're littered. The social landscape is more than littered with an array of stories of how somebody has a friend who knows somebody who cheated with Mauricio, or somebody was, at a bar somewhere and Mauricio flirted with them and asked them out, or, whatever, or they kissed. It's been going on for years. So listen, it was your husband, okay? She says it was because of all this partying. And then they talk about PK and Mauricio partying with Kyle Cook from Summer House. Now, what's that? Then you get these two old men partying with Kyle Cook. Come on. It's so ridiculous. They did a flashback. They did a flashback to last year's reunion where she alluded to like something like there was a he broke her trust or something like that. She was alluding to him cheating. But she says she didn't want to talk about, I don't want to talk about the husband of my children badly. But then she goes on to say, hey, listen, when we were separated before he moved out, I saw all of his messages to all these ladies. Girl, I'm going to just tell you this much. And she says, I knew everything. You had to have known some shit was going on. Listen, it's been discussed on the show. And you mean to tell me you haven't around town heard like whisperings of this? Come on. You knew. You had to have known. So Kyle we then move on into the next segment of Kyle. And Kyle should have had some sneakers on because she was running all over the place on dodging these answers. So she says she's going to be moving on soon. She has an announcement soon. And this is when they change the subject into like, they don't say Morgan, but they then get into the whole, like, I had never questioned my sexuality before, but then things happening. So they're talking. Here's the thing about this segment that pissed me off. Listen, I'm going to tell you, having Kathy Hilton on there for comedic, lightning at some point, like for like a nice comedic break. She's good for that. This is not the time, though, for Kathy Hilton to just be laughing uncontrollably. Her sister is dancing around, the subject of her sexuality and talking to her daughters about it and how her daughters are like, it doesn't matter what you do or what you say. We're always going to love you. Nothing is going to change that. They're very, very accepting. And then here's Kathy Hilton laughing. That pissed me off. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. And I know people were going to maybe be like, well, I've been reading too much. I didn't like that because it's not someone's sexuality and them coming out isn't a punchline. Okay. I thought that was terrible that they kept that in. I hated it. And now listen, here's the thing. Hopefully this journey will take her off the show because she's done. She's tired. It's tired. This whole cast is tired, but she should be done. And here's the thing, though. I don't see how it wouldn't take her off the show because if she ends up with Morgan, we already know that Morgan doesn't want to be on the show because of how it apparently affected her from being on last season. So there's no way that if she ends up with Morgan that she's going to be on the show. I mean, unless they don't show her, which wouldn't be great because they're the ones, between her and Dorit and Erica, we show everything. We show you everything. So if she ends up with Morgan and she doesn't talk about it next year or she doesn't show Morgan, then she shouldn't be on. That's just it. So next, the question from Andy was, what was your most expected surprise from the season? It could be bad. It could be good. So Dorit says, I'm surprised that I found a friend for life in Bose. I'm happy that I found, and basically what she was saying was, I'm happy that I found a person of color to be my friend. so people forget about my microaggressions. You can't tell me that you cannot tell me that when Dorit saw Bose, that she wasn't like, oh yes, let me slide up to this beautiful Black woman and these people will forget all about these microaggressions. Remember when I said that my children are around people of color because they're the help? But it's okay because my mother's best friend is Black. I just can't. Okay, so Garcelle then, her answer was that she was surprised in a good way about seeing more of Sutton and her mom. Very nice. So then it gets to Sutton. And rather than Sutton saying something nice about Garcelle, she says, I'm most surprised that Erica and I got along so well and had some nice, fun moments. I hope that those continue. And Erica was like, well, they will, yes. Listen, and then they showed Garcelle. It was at that very moment, it was right there, that in Garcelle's mind, she was like, fuck it, I'm done. I'm done. After 5 seasons of sticking up for Sutton, the one person that Sutton is thinking of is Erica. The woman that ripped her new one on the boat this season. The one that for a couple seasons came right for her jugular. The woman that a few seasons ago was all like talking all nice to her on the way to the boat. Oh yeah, we're great. Yeah, everything will be fine. We'll move on. And then during the reunion was like, I played your dumbass, bitch. That woman. That's the woman that she wants to be friends with. She's not thinking about her friend Garcelle, who's been there for her. Okay, so then they do the toast. Jennifer gives the toast. And if you noticed, Garcelle only really clinked glasses with Jennifer Tilly. And then stepped back. Didn't clink anybody else's glasses, drank it, and then they were like, okay, Andy was like, let's get that picture. And Garcelle was out. She's like, I'm done. I'm not doing this. And then Dorit had to start screaming, Garcelle, that's so unprofessional. Garcelle, that's so unprofessional. Remember last season, during last season's reunion, when Dorit had to keep people waiting for hours because she had 4 hours because she had to cosplay as some Little Red Riding Hood with that one Lisa Stanfield curl, you know. She had to put that red sheet up on her head that kept falling down anyways. And probably pose for 18 different Instagram pictures. So that wasn't unprofessional? Okay. Or when you scream at people, see you next Tuesday, that's professional? Okay. Or the many a times that you were probably late because you had to take pictures for social media. So that's not professional. I don't understand how this was unprofessional. She had done the whole reunion. Garcelle sat there for the whole reunion. Went through all of it. Drank. Just didn't get a picture taken. Okay. So, and I don't understand why Dorit even cares. You don't like Garcelle. You're not friends. So why? And listen, how about you tell your bestie, maybe that's a little bit of a microaggression. You know? So Garcelle goes back to her dressing room and she's done. She's like, I've been honest with everyone, even after I said, I'm sorry about what I said about the home invasion. They still come for me. I can't trust anyone. She felt like she was on an island by herself, and that's a terrible feeling. So, but here's the shocking thing. She walked out and no one followed her out. No one, including and especially not her bestie Sutton. You remember last year when Sutton had that fainting accident? You know, when she purposely fainted so she didn't have to be out there with Kathy Hilton because she was scared of her. Yeah, remember that when she fainted? And who was the person that went with her to the hospital? Was that Erica? Was that Kyle? No, that was Garcelle. That was Garcelle who went with her to the hospital. Instead of Sutton following her, Sutton stayed on that stage and just had a kiki out there with the other women about Garcelle. Well, why is she doing that? Why did she leave? I don't understand. What's going on? Sutton, do you know? And Sutton was crickets. You spent your lunch break with Garcelle, and I guarantee you, she told you everything that was bothering her. But you know what? You know Garcelle, you know Sutton wasn't paying any attention. Sutton was in her head probably wondering, why don't they like me? What can I do to be better friends to make Kyle and Erica like me? She so desperately wants to get into that group. She probably didn't pay any damn attention. She probably didn't hear anything that Garcelle said. So when they're asking her what Garcelle was mad about, she couldn't stand up for her. She didn't stand up for her friend because she was too worried about herself. She was too self-involved with herself. So they then go, Garcelle gets out of her dress, changes, leaves, and then they all take the picture. They're all smiling, all fucking fake. And then here comes Sutton at the end. Oh, where'd she go? Oh, she left? We're supposed to go to supper. She don't care a shit. She don't give a shit about what is bothering Garcelle. She cares about herself. She cares about getting supper. I'm going to tell you this right now. Sutton was never a friend to Garcelle. Garcelle was help for her. Garcelle was her help. Garcelle was there to defend her. And Sutton didn't do that for her. No, listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. Good for you, Garcelle, for leaving on your terms. You can tell when she said, none of these women like me, that is true. And that was proven when nobody followed her out, including Sutton. So listen, good for you that you got out. Garcelle, when she came on this show, she had a career. She was already established. She's a producer now. She's an actress. She's making movies about topics that she cares about, that mean something to her. She had a career before. She will have a career after. Good on you. I will always be a fan of Garcelle Bouvet. And the rest of you ladies can fuck off. What do they need to do? They need to reboot this whole franchise because none of these women are given anything. With Garcelle gone, nobody is going to defend Sutton, and good, because in the past, was I a fan of Sutton? Yes. No more. Get rid of these women. Maybe keep on Jennifer Tilly. get some younger people. And Bose, guess what? You're it, because they got rid of Garcelle. Eventually, they came for Garcelle, and eventually they're going to come for you. All right? And I'm going to say it right now. Crystal was right. Crystal was right all along about Sutton. She was right all along. Sutton is her mother's daughter. Absolutely. And listen, Garcelle, when you look at Crystal's social media, she's having a blast living her best life. I absolutely love all the content that she puts out. So Garcelle, go live your best life. Live your best life away from these bitches. Fake ass bitches. So there we go. This is a long video. If you did watch the whole video, at the end, let's put some diamonds up. Let's put some shine bright like a diamond. Please put some diamonds up and let me know what you thought. And if nobody told you yet today, you were loved, seen, and heard, please make sure that you put love, kindness, compassion, acceptance, hope, and positivity out there in the world. So it comes right back at you. Please take care of one another. Oh my gosh, in this day and age, in this America, in this America, you have to please be aware of your surroundings, be smart and safe, stay hydrated often with water, and if you're in a dangerous situation, please know that Dolly and I are sending our love, thoughts, prayers, and all the positive energy and vibes so you make it through. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys. Bye.